As Kyle Shanahan stated yesterday, Brock Purdy will return after missing 5 games and will start here in the desert against his hometown team as the Niners look to bounce back after a tough division loss to the Rams against another division game against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, you guys all know the story of Brock Purdy by now. Last pick overall, pick 262 in the 2022 NFL Draft, known as Mr. Irrelevant. And he got his time to shine after Jimmy Garoppolo went down in that December game against the Miami Dolphins, Brock's dad's team. And he just absolutely shocked the world. Ends up going 7-1 as a starter. Only game that he loses is the NFC Championship game where he suffers that horrible freak arm injury, which arguably the Niners could have possibly won that NFC Championship game had that not happened. And a lot of people thought that injury was going to be a game changer. He was going to maybe not be healthy until midway through the 2023 season. He was going to have Tommy John surgery, but it turns out that he was able to get healthy over the offseason. And 2023, he had an absolute monster year, was 4th runner-up for NFL MVP. Of course, Christian McCaffrey was also, his teammate was also 3rd runner-up. He ends up going 14-5 and leads the Niners to a Super Bowl appearance. But then last season, unfortunately, he regressed, threw a lot more interceptions than he ever had previously in the past 2 seasons before that, and he ends up going 6-9 as a starter as the Niners go 6-11 and have a down year following their Super Bowl loss. And this season, 2025, Brock, week 1, kind of has an up and down game. He throws 2 interceptions, but he also throws that game-winning pass to Jake Tonges, which a lot of people think was sort of lucky. You know, he kind of threw it in the face of some Seahawks defenders, but Jake Tonges ends up coming up with the game-winning catch. Maybe a day or two later, it's announced that Brock has a turf toe injury and is going to be out for a little while. I think the timetable was unknown, but Mac Jones ends up taking over as the starter. Now, the story with Mac Jones is very interesting because there were reports in the 2021 draft where the Niners traded a whole bunch of picks and ended up getting Trey Lance that Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones. Mac Jones ends up starting week 2 against the Saints, then week 3 in Santa Clara against the Cardinals, and then Brock feels healthy enough to play at Levi's against Jacksonville, and unfortunately he does not look too good. He throws 2 interceptions, and he's the main difference, and now by the way, shout out to Mac Jones. Mac Jones has played absolutely phenomenal as a backup quarterback. He's 5-3 as a starter this year. And there's a lot of people, Tom Brady included, that think that the Niners should stick with Mac Jones. He's, the healthier quarterback, because, Brock still isn't 100%. And he's the hot hand. And, he hasn't played lights out, but he's played pretty damn good. But the main difference between Brock and Mac is, now, this initially wasn't exactly the case. Brock was kind of more of, a pocket passer. You could throw downfield, and he could complete the check down passes. And actually, I think last year, despite Brock having, overall kind of a down year, you saw Brock improve his scrambling ability a lot, and he was a lot more of a mobile quarterback. And I think that's the main difference between Brock Purdy and Mac Jones, is that Brock is just more mobile. Now, as great as Mac Jones has played, Brock is still the starting quarterback. This is still Brock Purdy's team. Brock is still your $265 million man. So, I mean, people are saying it's a quarterback controversy. Hey, I think it's kind of the opposite. You have 2 really good quarterbacks on your team. There's nothing wrong with that. That is not a negative thing. That is a positive thing, 100%. So Brock struggles against Jacksonville. They lose. Then Mac Jones is the starter once again. It turns out that Brock maybe kind of underestimated how healthy he was, as he just was not able to move that well in the pocket. and the turf toe was clearly still bothering him. And Kyle Shanahan later admitted it was a mistake to rush him back so early at that point. So then Mac ends up leading the Niners to a thrilling victory on Thursday Night Football against the Rams in LA at SoFi Stadium, aka Levi's South. And like I said, Mac has played very well as the backup, but it's Brock's team, and hopefully, despite Brock not being fully healthy, not being 100%, and I'm not gonna lie, I am a little bit nervous. I'll be at the game on Sunday. I am very nervous. I really hope that Brock plays well, but more importantly, I hope he does not re-aggravate his turf toe, and I hope we do not see any return of Brock being injured, because I'm a Niner fan. Hey, if Mac Jones is somehow going to be the starter and lead the team to the Super Bowl, I'm all for that. I don't care who's the quarterback, but as a Brock Purdy fan, just in general, I just hope that he's able to, not just play well, but stay healthy. Brock Purdy is not the only Arizona native that is returning to the desert on Sunday. Ricky Pearsall, also from Phoenix, is also making his return, who also has not played since the Jacksonville game. Now, Ricky Pearsall he's had a hell of an NFL career. It's a very bizarre career. Of course, he got shot during that attempted robbery of his Rolex watch at Union Square in San Francisco shortly before the 2024 season. And he also had some football-related injuries, too, last season. And so we did not really see much of him until the end of the season. But we got to see some chemistry between Brock and Ricky Pearsall, especially in that Lions game last season. And we saw some good stuff out of Ricky Pearsall before his injury this season. So if Kyle opens the playbook for Brock and we see some, either some checkdowns or some passes downfield, I expect Ricky Pearsall to be targeted, and I expect to see more of that chemistry between Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall. So anyway, this has been Danny Golding TV. Let's go Niners. Let's get back on track, and let's get that dub on Sunday. Peace!